So today I just wanted to talk really quickly about some things like how to calculate your profit, how to calculate your cost, how to calculate, whether or not you're making money off of your artwork or off of a show. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to just make sure that I'm streaming this correctly. Turn this over here like that. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about a few different things, but we're just going to go through some of the math that you need to do when you are producing artwork. And so there's a couple things that are really important, and they break down into three categories. So one category is cost. How much are you spending on stuff? The next category is profit. How much are you making on things? And then over here, you've got to go with sales as far as like the price and whatnot. These kind of break down into a few different categories as well. And so under costs, I'm going to talk about total costs, and that includes a number of things. So it includes, you've got your taxes, you've got your shipping, anything, and all of those things. You've got your, like printing costs and whatever, manufacturing. All of these things here are all called COGS. And COGS stands for cost of goods sold. Okay, so we have our COGS here. Then profit is not, and I think most people know this, but profit is not how much you sell it for. So if you sell something for $10, you didn't just profit $10, right? The other thing that people get wrong is if you sell something for $10 and it costs you, let me change colors here, and it costs you $2 to print it, you didn't just make $8 because you got to pay taxes, shipping, whatever else, what other cost of goods that went into that. And so profit is how much you sell it for, right? Over here. Okay, it's how much you sell it for minus your COGS. And that equals profit. Okay? And so we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I want to talk about profit on a per unit basis, because that's a very valuable way to calculate things. So we're going to talk about how that works. Then sales, there's a couple different ways to look at this, and I'm just going to go off of the most simple way, which is what did you sell it for, right? What was the per unit sales number? Meaning there's like MSRP, there's SMAP, there's all this type of different things. But the actual money that changed hands, that's what I'm going to talk about with sales. And so if it's advertised for $10, but it's on sale for $8, and if you negotiate for $6, and the $6 is actually what somebody paid for it, that's the sale price, right? That's how much it actually sold for. Okay? All right, so that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. I'm just going to delete. Well, we'll just keep going down here. We've got room. So I'm going to switch colors to green since we're talking about money. So let's do some green color here. So first off, I'm going to give you some real numbers. So I have a bid here for postcards, and this is what I paid for the postcards. This is what I paid for the postcards, and so I had 17 different designs, and I printed 15 copies of each design for this show. So let me pull up my calculator here. Okay, so I'm just going to do 17 times, oops, sorry, I already know the answer. 17 times 15, okay, and that means that I have 225 total units. Okay, that's how many postcards I'm bringing to this show. Okay, 225. The price that I ended up paying for that okay, I ended up paying my printing costs $115.41. So $115.41. Okay, that's printing. So now what I need to figure out is really, really easy, right? What I need to figure out is I need to figure out how much per postcard. How much did it cost per postcard? So I take the total number of the printing price and I divide that by the number of units. Okay, and so that looks like this. I'm going to say my total cost, and I'm going to assume right here that this, you would add to this if there's shipping, which there wasn't because I got it locally, if they charge tax, which they didn't because I'm selling these. Not any other costs, right? So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to say 115.41 divided by 225. Okay, and that gives me basically 51 cents in cost per unit. Okay, so my cost is 51. Okay, so 51 cents is how much each postcard cost me. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of star this so I know where it is later. Okay, then the next thing is I've got to decide how much I'm going to sell this for. Okay, and so let's say that I want to sell these for $2 a piece. To figure out the profit, okay, so here's my sales price. To figure out the profit, I take my sales number, how much I'm selling it for, and I subtract how much it costs me. Okay, and so in this case, I will take $2 and I will subtract 51 cents. Okay, and that means that at $2, and I'm going to write this out, at $2, I make $1.49, okay, per, so this is my profit. That's how much I earn per postcard, right? Now, I almost might want to say, and I did this, I might want to say, I wonder if I sell these for $3, what would happen, okay? And so you just do the same thing. It's $1 more, so we know that it's $2.49, okay? But just for the sake of showing you, I'd go $3 minus the cost, and I'd say $2.49, okay? So it's going to be $1.49 or $2.49 profit. Now, the important part about this, the part that's really interesting that you might want to take a look at, is something that I call the break-even point. Okay, and the break-even point is how many of these do I have to sell before I'm not losing money on them, right? And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is I've spent $115, okay? That's how much I spent, okay? So when I sell one of these and I make $1.49, I didn't actually profit $1.49 on the whole, because now I just take this 115 and now I have, you know, whatever that is. And so I still am in the hole 100 and some change, right? And so I take this $1.49. How many $1.49s would it take to where I'm not losing money anymore, to where I equal this amount? So what I actually need to do is I need to do $115, or my COGS total, okay? So my total COGS, and divide that by my profit per unit. And I'm doing it per unit because I want to know how many units I need to sell, okay? So what I do here is I take, come back here like this, take 115, and we'll do the actual price, 115.41, and I want to divide that by my profit, and I'll say at $2 sale price, I would make $1.49. So that means that to break even, I need to sell 78 of these, right? Because 77 doesn't quite get me there. So 78, you always round up to a whole number. So my break-even point, break-even at $2 is 78 units. So 78 postcards is how many it will take for me to reach my print cost. Okay? Now, that's one thing. I can also come in here and say, okay, maybe I'm uncomfortable with 78. What happens if I sell it for $3 a piece? Okay, we're just going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to go 115.41, which is my printing cost for the whole run of 225. Okay, and I'm going to divide that by my profit, which is how much I'm selling it for, $3, minus how much it cost me, 51 cents. And I'm going to say, so I'm going to divide that by 249, and that equals 46. Okay, and so round that up to 47 because there's a little bit carried over here. So I'm going to say at $3 is, what did I say, 47? Yeah, 47. And so now you just need to decide, do you think that you can sell 47 of these? Or do you think that you can sell 78 of these at that price? And if you think you can, then that's a good risk to take, right? But I had another thing that I did where I had to sell a ridiculous amount of them to get to my break-even point. And even though the margin or the profit was really good, the break-even point was so high that I kind of shied away from that, right? And 78 seems really high, except I'm selling these in packs of 5. And so another thing that I can do, and I'm going to do this over here, okay, is I'm going to this show for 3 days, and let's say that I have 78 units to break even. So I've got 78 postcards to get to my break-even point. Okay? And how many of those do I have to sell a day? Well, that's easy. I just go 78 divided by 3. 26, right? So I need to do 26 of these every day to break even. Okay? I'm there for about 8 hours. So I can further break this down, and I can say I have to sell more than 3 an hour to get to my break-even point. Okay, so that doesn't seem that bad, but not every hour I'm going to be selling stuff. I don't know. The other way that I can look at this is I can say I'm going to sell these in packs of 5, right? And so I'll say 78 divided by 5 equals 15. Okay, so that's 15 packs. 15 packs of 5. And that number is way lower and way more reasonable. And I'm going to divide that by 3. And that means that I only have to do 5 packs a day to get to my break-even point. Okay, and so if I sell 5 postcard packs in a day, 3 days in a row, then I won't lose money on my postcards. And so that's just a little bit of the math that I went through to try to decide what it was that I was going to do as far as whether something would print or not. Let me do just one more real quick here. I'm just going to create a new layer. Hide this one. Okay, so let me show you the math on. Let's do my 11 by 17 color. Okay. So my 11 by 17 color prints, I got a bid for printing was $79.96. Okay, and that got me 16 different designs, and I made 5 copies. Okay, so I had 16 different designs, and I have 5 copies of each, and so that equals 16 times 5. 80 different designs. Okay, so I have 80 color prints that I want to sell. Okay, and so now, and this math almost does itself, but we're 4 cents off, so we'll do it. Now I want to figure out what my per unit cost is. Okay, and so my per unit cost is going to be how much it cost me to print it. Okay, so we're going to go print costs, and then we're going to divide that by how many units there are. Okay, and so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say 79.96 divided by 80. Okay, and we get basically $1. Okay, so just to make it easy, since this rounds up and rounds up, right? So that's $1. So my cost, okay, per unit is $1. Okay, so now I can run some scenarios. If I sell these, and we can do this math without the calculator, if I sell these for $10 a piece, okay, then my profit is minus the cost is going to be $9 a piece. Okay, so at $9 a piece, how long will it take me to get to a break-even point? Okay, well then I would take my $79.96 and I would divide that by 9 because that's how much I'm going to make. And we go right here like this, so we'll go 79.96 divided by 9. Okay, and so my break-even point on these prints is 9 prints, because we round up to a whole number, because we don't quite get there at 8 point something. We get there at 9. Okay, and so if I sell 9 of these, then I break even, right? And I can do the same thing. What happens if we do this at 15 a pop? Okay, so let's say that we sell this at 15 a pop. That means that if I subtract my cost of printing, that I make $14 each time I sell one of these. Okay, so then I'm just going to change that number to 14. Okay, the profit. So I'm going to go my total print run divided by the profit per unit. Okay, and so I'll go 79.96 divided by 14 equals 6 units, because we round up to the nearest whole number. Okay, and so for me, I look at this and I say this is at $15 a piece, and this is at $10 a piece. I have to sell fewer of these to get to a break-even point. Okay, to sell a couple more, 4 more of these to get to a break-even point. And this is where you look at this and you say, I make $9 a piece at $10. I make $14 a piece at $15. But there are going to be fewer people that will spend $15 just because it's a little bit more. And so you start to wonder, can you move more units? Well, if I have 80 of these, and this is where you can calculate total profit, and this will never happen. You'll never completely sell out. I've heard on the best products that you have about a 20% failure rate as far as inventory that you have to get rid of at the end. So anyway, so I've got 80 of these to move, and the potential profit here is that I take 80 and I multiply 80 by 9, right? And so I go 80 times 9, and that gives me $720, except I don't bring 720 down home because I've got to get rid of my cost. So I got 720 minus 79 whatever, right? And so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go 720 minus 79.96 equals $640. Okay, and that's at $9. So let's do the same thing. Let's do the same thing at $14 if we were to sell it at 15. Okay, so I'm going to go 80 times $14 equals almost $1,200. Okay, minus 79.96. Okay, so it's the difference between 1,040, 640 to 1,040, right? And so it's a $400 difference just on that extra $5. But I've got to take into account whether or not I think I'm going to sell those, sell all the way through these at a higher price. Okay, and so that's kind of some of the decision making. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful, and hopefully you enjoyed kind of going through that. Or I don't know if it's one of those things that you enjoy, but it's one of those things that's kind of helpful to know. So if you are calculating prints or calculating any type of things, just remember a break-even point is really, really useful. And so always think through a break-even point. If you would like to win some of these postcards and stickers and things over the next few days, then come and see me at my booth in Salt Lake Comic Con FanX on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And I will be in Teal, TE33. Or you can go to corykerr.com/email and sign up for my email newsletter. And I will kind of draw some names from that newsletter list. We'll see you guys later. I'm out.